Churchill, alarmed that the Bismarck is being loosed at sea, orders that all major ships of the British Navy break off their assignments wherever they are and converge in the North Atlantic to hunt the Bismarck down. At the first encounter with the British fleet, the Bismarck, with its powerful guns, promptly sinks the Hood, a World War II British battleship, the pride of the British Navy. Only 3 of its crew survived. It also defeats an attack by the British ship Prince of Wales. The German Admiralty then orders the Prince Eugen to break off, to raid on its own. The British lose track of the Bismarck, but locate it later and attack it again. For air assault, Britain has only funny little swordfish biplanes, and in your handout, there's a picture of one of them. That is their torpedo attack boat against the mighty 50,000-ton Bismarck. Each of those swordfish biplanes carries 1 torpedo under its belly. Torpedoes from the British swordfish start bouncing harmlessly off the side of the Bismarck. It has 15-inch thick steel walls. But one, luckily, strikes a giant rudder, making the Bismarck unable to steer. It can only go in a circle. British warships surround it for an all-out turkey shoot and finally sink it. But with the German battleships Scharnhorst and Gneisenau lying in Brest at this time for repairs, where they're exposed to constant attacks from the air, with the sinking of the Bismarck, Germany has effectively lost its surface ship capabilities. And there's a picture of the Scharnhorst in the handout, and you will note that they're trying to camouflage it because of all these attacks from the air. Here's what Rader says after the sinking of the Bismarck. When the final report of the Bismarck's end came to Hitler through enemy sources, for the rest of the war, Hitler's attitude toward any suggestions or proposals I made was completely different. He was extremely critical and issued directives to me that radically restricted the movement of these major units. The strategic and tactical handling of heavy ships by the Naval High Command had been at times too bold for Hitler, at other times too timid. And the biting words he used to me, the uncontrollable anger he had permitted himself toward me, did not reflect impersonal differences of opinion. Starting in July of 1941, the U.S. takes over the protection of Iceland from Britain, lands troops there, and starts to build naval and air bases. The German Navy must start thinking about the United States naval forces. On September 15, ships and aircrafts of the United States began to protect British convoys, and U.S. Secretary of the Navy Knox announces that the United States Navy has been ordered to use all means in its command to capture or destroy all Axis commerce raiders, regardless of whether they are surface or underwater pirates. From this date, the United States is in an undeclared state of war. In his book, Admiral Donitz reports that 2 days after Knox's announcement, Hitler instructs that all incidents with the United States are to be avoided. And later, he says that when Japan bombs Pearl Harbor in December, the German High Command is taken completely by surprise. In January 1942, the Nazi U-boats lost little time in terrorizing our eastern shorelines, shipping lanes and convoys carrying troops and supplies. And between May and September 1943, 62 convoys comprising 3,546 merchant ships crossed between America and Britain by the northern transatlantic route, and not one ship was lost. Perhaps the most dramatic evidence of Allied mastery of the U-boat came in the Normandy invasion in June 1944. Donitz directed 58 U-boats to break it up. Not one got near the invasion area. In January 1942, as the United States Navy starts meeting the challenges of the Battle of the Atlantic, according to Rader, Hitler is obsessed with fear that the British are making plans for a re-entry into Norway. While 2 of his battleships still lay in Brest for repairs, Hitler is focused on the pounding from the air his warships are taking. Due to the constant attacks from the air and the repairs have dropped from slow to a standstill. Hitler wants them sent home to German ports where they might be of service off Norway. To Admiral Rader's dismay, Hitler insists on their return by a dash through the English Channel, something not attempted since Britain defeated the Spanish Armada. Rader figured the British can keep advised as to the state of readiness of Hitler's ships at any time, and will have such a window of time that it can assemble almost its entire naval forces to stop them, and air forces to stop them. Here's what Rader says. I urged that they be sent by roundabout passage north of Iceland, but Hitler was adamant and stated if I rejected the Channel breakthrough, he would have the ships decommissioned in Brest and the guns put off there. On the night of February 11, 12, 1942, the Scharnhorst and the Gneisenau and the heavy cruiser Prinz Eugen, along with escorts, slipped out of Brest and unnoticed in the dark and undetected by British radar, which had failed. For almost 12 hours, they sailed unhampered, and they got almost to the narrowest part of the English Channel, the Straits of Dover, right across from Calais, before they were noticed. Well, the British bombers failed to score, while the German ships destroyed 82 British aircraft, caused severe damage to a British destroyer, and got through to their home port successfully. Rader considered the Channel dash a tactical success and a strategic defeat.